In the heart of the NFL, where legends are forged and legacies tested, the story of Russell Wilson unfolds with a dramatic twist. A quarterback who once dazzled Seattle with improbable escapes and soaring passes, Wilson's journey took a turbulent turn in Denver during the 2023 season under Sean Payton. This is a tale of triumph and collapse of a seasoned star clashing with a demanding coach and a season that ended in an unforgettable benching. From the heights of playoff runs to the depths of locker room strife, the narrative of Wilson's 2023 season with the Broncos reveals the fragility of success in the unforgiving world of professional football. Before the Denver saga, Russell Wilson's name echoed through Seattle as a symbol of resilience and brilliance. Drafted in the third round in 2012, he rose to prominence with a Super Bowl 48 victory in 2014, throwing for 206 yards and 2 touchdowns behind the Legion of Boom. Even after that defense faded post-2017, Wilson continued to thrive. He led the Seahawks to the playoffs for a total of 8 times in his 10 seasons there, 4 NFC West Division titles, and a 2020 season with 40 touchdowns showcased his magic, a quarterback who turned chaos into opportunity. Wilson's Seattle success set a high bar until Denver changed everything.
The Denver Broncos and Seattle Seahawks have agreed to a trade that will send Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos in exchange for a package of picks and players that'll be one of the largest in NFL history.
The shift came in 2021, when Wilson's desire for control, seeking play calling input, better protection, and even eyeing Pete Carroll's replacement clashed with Seahawks GM John Schneider. Tensions peaked, leading to a trade demand fulfilled on March 8, 2022. Seattle sent Wilson to Denver for a haul, 2 first-round picks, 3 players including Noah Fant, while he signed a 5-year, $245 million extension with $165 million guaranteed before playing snap. And after many failed experiments, the Denver Broncos finally thought that they found their future quarterback. The 2022 reality under Nathaniel Hackett was a nightmare. Wilson bulked up 15 pounds to focus on pocket passing, co-authored the game plan, and brought a sprawling entourage that consisted of a personal QB coach, trainers, and therapists into the Broncos facility, even securing a private office on the coach's floor. This move distanced him from teammates who whispered of a me-first attitude, while media labeled it a power grab gone wrong. Injuries then mounted, from a torn lat, hamstring strain, and concussion, crippling Russ's mobility. His stats plummeted to a career-low 60.5% completion, 16 touchdowns, and a league-high 55 sacks, with the offense stalling spectacularly.
Payton goes in motion. Wilson to throw and too high.
The lows were brutal. Week 2 against the Texans at home, fans had to count out the clock as Wilson struggled, a humiliating moment for a franchise QB. Then in Week 12 against the Panthers, saw defensive tackle Mike Purcell publicly yell at Russ on the field, exposing locker room fractures. And then who could forget the Christmas 2022 humiliating 51-14 loss to the Rams, marked by 3 interceptions. The Broncos finished 5-12, Hackett was fired with 2 games left on the season, and the locker room was fractured. The failure stemmed from unchecked freedom, a scheme that ignored his legs, and a cultural disconnect that left Russ isolated and ineffective.
And more coaching news today on this Tuesday. Sean Payton is getting back in the NFL coaching game, teaming up with Russell Wilson as the Broncos' next head coach.
January 31st brought a new chapter with Sean Payton's arrival. Traded from the Saints for a first-round pick and additional assets, the Super Bowl 44 architect aimed to resurrect Denver. Payton acted swiftly, banning Wilson's entourage, publicly decrying Hackett's tenure as the worst coaching job in NFL history, and promising a cultural and strategic overhaul. The offseason became a mission to rebuild around Wilson. The offensive line received a huge boost after signing left guard Mike McGlinchey and guard Ben Powers to address the 55-sack debacle. Tight ends Adam Troutman and Chris Mannix were added for blocking, while running back Samaje Perine enhanced the run game. The draft delivered wide receiver Marvin Mims Jr. a speedster to open deep routes. Payton redesigned the offense with a 15% increase in play action, more screens, and structured reads, aiming to blend Wilson's arm strength with his mobility. Training camp buzzed with Wilson shedding 10 pounds, Payton lauding his elite deep ball accuracy, and fans envisioning a playoff return. Yet beneath the optimism, the clash of Payton's disciplinarian style and Wilson's independent nature loomed large. The 2023 season began with a narrow defeat. Week 1 saw the Broncos fall 17-16 to the Raiders, with Wilson throwing for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns, nearly missing a comeback as the defense held firm but couldn't secure the win. Week 2 brought a 35-33 loss to the Commanders. Russ orchestrated a late rally, throwing for 308 yards, 3 touchdowns with 1 interception, but a missed 2-point conversion and a defensive lapse sealed their fate. The lowest point arrived in Week 3 with a 70-20 blowout by the Dolphins. Wilson posted 306 yards, 1 touchdown with 1 interception, yet the defense allowed a franchise record 70 points, exposing systemic issues. A 1-5 start followed, marked by agonizing losses to the Bears, Jets, and Chiefs, where Russ's early 12 touchdowns and 4 interceptions showed potential, but 20-plus sacks signaled pocket pressure. The Week 7 bye week marked a turning point. The Broncos front office issued a stark ultimatum: defer $37 million of Wilson's 2025 injury guarantee or face benching. Russ, supported by the NFLPA, resisted, deepening the rift. But mid-season redemption came in Week 8 with a 24-9 upset win over the Chiefs, the first Denver win against Kansas City since 2015, snapping a 16-game skid. Wilson recorded 114 passing yards, 3 touchdowns with no interceptions, connecting on short, efficiency plays to Courtland Sutton, Samaje Perine, and Adam Trautman in a vintage performance. Later in weeks 10 to 12, Russell led the Broncos to 5 consecutive wins over the Bills, Vikings, and Browns, but all that momentum would come crashing down in a Week 13 game against the Texans, where Russ threw 3 interceptions in a 22-17 loss to the Texans. At 6-6, the defense's 15 takeaways in 5 games soon fueled playoff dreams, yet cracks soon began to widen against the Lions in a humiliating 42-17 defeat in Week 15. With the score 28-7 in the third quarter for the home team, Sean Payton was spotted by cameras yelling at his quarterback on the sidelines. The Broncos had just run 3 plays that all appeared to be touchdowns, but 2 were ruled short of the end zone, and the third was nullified by a penalty. After settling for a field goal, the head coach lashed out at Russ as he was coming off the field.
I'm really confused, right? Well, there is a very animated discussion.
Wilson would start one last game the following week in another disappointing 26-23 home defeat against the Patriots, falling to 7-8 on the season with 2 games remaining. Then on December 26, Payton made the seismic decision to bench Wilson, his first career benching as a starting quarterback. The official narrative labeled it as a football decision to evaluate the roster, but the underlying motive was clear: avoid triggering Wilson's $37 million injury guarantee if injured. Russ responded publicly, stating, "I'm disappointed. They threatened to bench me over a contract," a claim the Broncos refuted, though the damage was done. Backup Jared Stidham took over. Week 17 delivered a 16-9 win over the Chargers, but Week 18 ended with a 27-14 loss to the Raiders, concluding the season at 8-9 and missing the playoffs. Russell Wilson's 2023 stats painted a complex picture: 3,070 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and a 98 passer rating over 15 starts, respectable numbers for a 35-year-old, yet the team went 7-8 in his games and he was still missing reads, holding onto the ball too long, and turning it over. The Lions sideline incident stood out as a turning point. Coaches rarely unleash such public vitriol on a star QB, and teammates noted it eroded Wilson's confidence. His footwork worsened, sacks piled to 45, and fumbles reached 10, reflecting a shaken psyche under Payton's rigid structure, which often clashed with Russ's improvisational skills. And the guarantee dispute became the final straw, with the front office leveraging the bench to protect their cap space. On March 4, 2024, the Broncos released Wilson, absorbing an NFL record $85 million dead cap hit. Sean Payton, in postseason reflections, pointed to Wilson's high-variance play, brilliant highs like the Chiefs' win, but costly errors that undermined the team. Rumors of sabotage surfaced, but the truth leaned toward an irreconcilable ego clash, not malice. The relationship closed with mutual blame, Payton's passion versus Wilson's pride, marking the end of a turbulent chapter. This saga offers a profound lesson in the NFL's unforgiving landscape. Payton invested heavily in Wilson, upgrading the offensive line, drafting Mims, and tailoring a scheme with 15% more play action, yet Russ struggled to fully adapt. The Chiefs' win on October 29th stood as a high-water mark, a 24-9 triumph that echoed his Seattle days, but it couldn't sustain momentum. The benching transcended football. It was a financial maneuver, pitting Payton's demand for control against Wilson's effort to safeguard his legacy. Denver's $85 million price tag to get up under Russ underscores the cost of this failed experiment. And whether Russell Wilson remains a Hall of Famer from his Seattle tenure, 9 playoff runs, a Super Bowl, and countless clutch plays remains to be seen, but his 2-season stint in Denver is a scar on his record. Sean Payton's play-calling genius met its match in mismatched personalities, proving that talent and ego alone cannot forge success. The NFL demands harmony, and this story reveals its absence. A tale of 2023's highs and lows, hope, hype, heartbreak, and a legacy redefined. The sideline yell, the guarantee fight, the bench, all pieces of a puzzle that fell apart. This is Russell Wilson's football life in Denver, a chapter of triumph and collapse.